Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Lizzie and I am so happy to have you. And today I am bringing you all a brand new speed build. Today, the speed build that I am bringing you all, if you didn't already know from the title, is the Goth's Manor. And I am so excited about this build, you guys. So let me go ahead and tell you guys what inspired this build. So it is currently the 26th of September, and if you guys didn't already know, we got a huge update, and this week the Reaper's Reward event officially started, so that is super exciting. I haven't gotten to do much gameplay with it yet. I logged on and I did notice a small glitch that occurred when I was trying to plant 2 flowers that were needed to complete a quest, so I haven't tried it again since, but I did notice that it wasn't checking on or checking off, and I even tried to do it without mods and such, so not sure if that's fixed yet or what was going on there. And I haven't gotten much farther than that yet in the rewards event, but I'm excited to kind of hop back into that now that this build is done. But this event inspired me to go ahead and remake the Goth's house, so let me tell you why. I kind of had this idea when watching the little introduction for the event that I wanted to use Cassandra Goth for this reward event, and they used her kind of in the trailer for it, and so that kind of inspired me, and I was like, wow, she would be the perfect sim to do this with, just because I feel like there is so much lore and background surrounding the Goth family, most of which I didn't even know until today when I decided to look up the family and kind of their history and past games, which we are going to go through a little bit later in this video because this build was quite a long one, so I figured I would take you guys on a little tour of their background and we would kind of get to explore that together. Before I continue on, I did want you guys to notice that I did cut out me building this roof because it took me so long to figure out how I wanted to do it, how I wanted to make it look, and then to make it look correct. So I cut a lot of the roof building process out, and I'm really sorry about that. I do show it on the backside how I made the roof pieces that were currently up there, but I did cut out the beginning of it just because it took me so long and this video was already super long as it is, so I figured there was no reason to show it twice, so apologies if any of you are kind of annoyed by that. But back to my little rant about the inspiration behind this build. So I logged into Cass and I gave Cassandra Goth a whole new look. If you are interested to see what she looks like, you can go ahead and hop over to my Tumblr. She is posted on there. She looks super cute, if I do say so myself, so I'll link my Tumblr down below as always, and you guys will be able to check her out, as well as the screenies for the interior of this house. But yeah, that was pretty much the inspiration behind this build. Originally, I was just going to update her room because I did want to take and share screenies as I progressed through the event challenge. But then I was like, there is no way that I can play in a build that is not my own. I've always had a weird thing about that. I hate playing in builds that aren't mine. Not because I think they're horrible or ugly or anything along the sense, but for some reason it just feels like I'm playing in somebody else's game if I haven't built the build myself. I'm not sure if any of you will relate to that, but that is how I kind of feel about it. So I ended up deciding last minute to do a complete makeover on their house, and I can say that I have been building this build up until the last minute, and I am a little bit stressed because it is currently 5 p.m. on Thursday and this is supposed to get uploaded tomorrow, and I have yet to create a CC list for this. I also have to film and edit 2 more videos before next Friday because I will be out of town starting next Friday until the following Sunday, so I have a lot to catch up on. So hopefully this weekend I'll be able to get another build in. I already have one of the builds built. I just need to film the editing process, and then I need to make another CC free build, which should take a little less time than my CC builds, but yeah, that is kind of where I'm at on that. So a fun idea that I kind of had that accompanied this build, and my idea to kind of keep track of the progress that I make throughout the challenge on my Tumblr, is that I was originally thinking about possibly doing a mini Let's Play series when the new pack comes out. Now, don't hold me to that because everyone knows that things change and I'm already so crunched on time as it is, so we'll just have to see if it's something that I can make time for, but it would be really exciting if I was able to kind of make that work in my schedule. So anyways, I was thinking of just doing like a short-term series to kind of help me explore the new pack, because normally I end up downloading the pack and playing with it for like a week, but I don't ever actually get like in-depth progress through the pack and get to explore all of the little details and such. So I was thinking that Cassandra Goth would be the perfect sim to do that Let's Play with, and I kind of came to that conclusion as I was looking through her background throughout the like Sims series. So I was reading about her past in The Sims 2 and in the original The Sims game, and wow, I did not realize how much lore accompanies this family, let alone Bella Goth herself. And I don't even know that I've officially read their like blurb in The Sims 4 in quite some time, so I don't really even know what it says about her. But holy cow, The Sims 2 and the stuff that was going on in that game with them was kind of insane. So in The Sims 2, from what I remember reading, is it starts with her as an adult. I believe she was working in the scientist career, and Bella Goth, her mother, was actually not present because she was abducted by aliens and had not yet returned. So that was kind of crazy. And then you find out that she is actually engaged to Don Lothario, and she's like madly in love with him, but it turns out he's actually cheating on her and he's madly in love with somebody else. And so you can choose to marry him in The Sims 2, and most of the time he will actually leave her at the altar and break her heart. And then Cassandra Goth's neighbor, I forget his name, I think it was Darren or something like that, is actually madly in love with Cassandra, and you can have the option to have a relationship with him. So yeah, there was some crazy background lore for them, and I was reading all about it, and I was like shocked by all of the stuff that I was reading about. And I don't know, I kind of thought that it was an interesting concept because in The Sims 2 she's an adult, but in The Sims 4 she's a young adult. And I was like, you could either play this as if it's an alternate universe, The Sims for her, or you could play it as in none of that stuff has happened yet because she's only a young adult in The Sims 4, and so that's all the stuff that's going to happen in her future. She was also best friends in The Sims 2 with, I believe, Mary Ann Pleasant. I believe that was her name. One of the Pleasant people who we have in The Sims 4, she was best friends with. So I thought all of that was really interesting, and I was like, that kind of gives me like a great like objective to get to if I were to decide to do a Let's Play with her. I could start her out as a young adult, and maybe she has a relationship in high school with somebody. They end up breaking it off, maybe because her parents don't approve or something like that. Then she eventually falls in love with Don Lothario, gets engaged to him, he's cheating on her, he breaks it off, and then she ends up back with whoever she was with in high school or something like that. I don't know, there's definitely time for me to kind of play around with the idea and the thought behind all of it, but it definitely got me brainstorming and thinking about kind of how I could incorporate her into a Let's Play with the new pack. I mean, I don't even know what the new pack is going to be like, but I definitely think it could be interesting. Again, I don't know what the new pack will even really entail. I don't think any of us really know what's going to be included in it, so it might not even work out that way. This might just have to be a little story that lives in my head forever, but it's definitely a neat idea, and I had a ton of fun kind of looking into the background of this family. So yeah, I think we're gonna do a little bit more of a deep dive into this family as we get into the depth of this video. But for right now, I want to kind of go back to the build itself. This build was so fun to make, you guys. I won't lie when I say that I'm so happy it's over, because if you know me, you know that I hate big builds. They are the bane of my existence. They're probably one of the most annoying things because I can never come up with enough ideas to fill up all of the rooms. And once again, I did not come up with enough ideas to fill all the rooms. There is one room on the top floor that is not furnished, and I left it for you guys to furnish and do whatever you want with, because this build already has 4 bedrooms. It has an office, it has a laundry room, it has 4 bathrooms, a kitchen, technically 3 sitting rooms, a dining room, and there are plenty of bookcases all around, so it's not like they're lacking in terms of bookcases, so I didn't want to make a library. So I just decided that I wasn't even going to furnish it, because I am quite literally brain dead when it comes to this build. I have no more creativity left in me, so I am sorry if that annoys any of you, but yeah, it's a creative choice, I guess. But anyways, I did have a blast building it. Despite all of that, it was so much fun to go outside of my comfort zone with my build style. I never build with like a super gothic Victorian style. I never build in either of those styles, so this was really fun to try and mess around with. And I really love the way that it turned out. There are pieces that I wish would have turned out a little bit better and fit my vision a little bit better, but overall, I'm really happy with it. I love the red and black theme that's carried throughout the house. I think it's so fun. It screams Goth to me. I did make the outside a little bit lighter than the typical all-black homes that we see for this family. And I don't know, personally, I still feel like it really fits their vibe. It looks very estate-esque, and it's still very dark with all of the black trim and the black roofs and the black windows, so it's still very dark and kind of gothic feeling, but I do like the contrast of the sort of red and a little bit lighter toned stone for the majority of the exterior. So I hope you guys like that as well. But yeah, I just had so much fun building this house, and it's definitely one of my favorite builds to date. It's been, I think, years since I have built a home for townies, so I'm really excited that I decided to do that, because it's definitely something that I need to start working on more, both in my CC save and my CC free save. So I'm happy that I kind of took a break from making random homes for my own Sims and kind of got back to making things for townies and getting to give them makeovers. I still need to give the rest of the Goth family a makeover, but once that is done, this family will have a home. They will be all styled up in my Sim style, and they will be ready to play with, and I'm so excited to jump into the reward challenge and use Bella and do all of that. I'm also going to give her a cat, because I just totally see her having a pet that she can cuddle with. I also picture her being really, really smart. I know in the game she has a C grade, but I picture her as like an A+ student. She's super smart in everything, especially with this reward challenge. I feel like she's going to need to be really smart since they're doing like research on ambrosia. So I feel like she needs to be like a really studious student. She needs to have a ton of interests. I placed musical instruments all around. They have a huge grand piano. She has a violin in her bedroom, and then they have a smaller piano in the upstairs area. So she has plenty of instruments lying around to keep that kind of creative musical charm about her. But I also just picture her like wanting to know everything about everything. Like she wants to know all about the different kind of like recipes and potions you can make, and she's just so curious about all of these different things. And if I'm going with like the Sims 2 storyline, kind of like incorporating that into her future story and having her mom get kidnapped by aliens, I could see her being really interested in aliens and all of that stuff, and wanting to figure out, you know, what happened to her mom, where did she go, and all that stuff. So I just picture her being super studious. She wants to know everything about every topic. She wants to be really good at everything. And she's always studying, always reading, always doing research. And then kind of the way that she relaxes and mellows out is through her music. And I'm not sure what career I see for her. I know in The Sims 2 that they said that she was a scientist, and that Mortimer was also a scientist in The Sims 2, I believe. So I don't think I would want her to follow in that in my storyline, because I don't know, with her being so creative, I don't feel like she would want to go down the scientist path, despite the fact that she is so smart and wants to know so much about everything. I still feel like she would maybe be like a famous musician or something, and then maybe, you know, she's like a musician by day and then this crazy smart person by night. I don't know. So really all that's left is for me to figure out who I want her to be in a relationship with, who I want her to have be her first teenage love, and eventually be the one that she kind of gets together with. But like I said, I have plenty of time to do all of that, if I even decide to go through with this. And I guess also make Marianne Pleasant a teenager to match her age, because I believe she is a young adult or an adult in The Sims 4, and I would like her to be closer to Cassandra Goth's age, since they were best friends in The Sims 2. So I think that's kind of what I have planned for all of that. So I hope you guys are excited by that, because you guys know I am, obviously, by how much I'm talking about it. So yeah, I hope you guys think it's a good idea or just kind of fun. So let me know down below in the comments. But this week has been a crazy week. My sister got married last weekend, so that was super exciting. So last weekend was just so busy. We had a get-together with all of their, like, bridal party and a family who came in from out of town, and then Saturday we had the rehearsal dinner, and then Sunday was obviously the wedding, and then I went straight back into work on Monday. So yeah, things have just been totally crazy, and they are not going to be getting any slower. This weekend is going to be a slow weekend, thank goodness, but as I said, next Friday I'm going out of town for a little over a week, so things will be picking back up again, and then I come back and jump straight back into work. So yeah, there is no rest for the weary, I can tell you that much, but I'm super excited for this trip that I'm going on. It's going to be super fun, super amazing. I'm getting to go somewhere I've never been before and just experience a bunch of new things. So yeah, that'll be super exciting. And you can kind of see here in the build the theme that I'm going to carry on with throughout the rest of the build. It's very dark black, dark red. We'll have some plants all throughout, very Victorian style furniture, and then we'll have little hints of gold throughout as well, which was super fun. And I just feel like it screams rich estate, and I just picture them having maids and cooks cooks and all of those things. So I will definitely be hiring those people in my gameplay. I can't even remember the last time that I played with maids or cooks or anything like that. So yeah, I think that'll be kind of fun. And I just want to play with them as if they really are extremely rich, and she's like a big Nepo baby, and yeah, I'm just really excited about everything that I found out about this family. So, and I'm super excited about this build and everything in between. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and get into the background and lore of the Goth family. And I think this could be a super fun thing to do for all of the townies if I have enough time in my speed builds, but I definitely have enough time in this one, so we're going to go ahead and get into it. I am on the Sims wiki in case you guys are curious where I'm getting my information, and I will go ahead and link that down below for you guys. So their background and origins start with the earliest known Goth, who was possibly a medieval era woman by the name of Lady Raven Dancer Goth, who wrote Lady Raven Dancer Goth's Book of Spells. The original tome was found in the Gothic Library, a library built by the very first Goths that settled in Sunset Valley. Magical ability is a common trait shared by many Goths. It is shown in several games that Bella Goth is capable of magic, and her mother-in-law, Cornelia Goth, was often used in promotional images dealing with magic things such as spellbooks and cowplant. Cornelia's possible relatives, Beatrice Belinda and Bianca Crumplebottom, are all witches. In the 19th century, a girl by the name of Morgana Goth drove men to insanity with her beauty. So famous was her legend that a doll was made and manufactured to resemble her. The appearances of Goth family members throughout the tree indicate a long lineage of wealthy businessmen, politicians, and scientists. Most male Goths are seen in suits and business clothes, while the women usually prefer long and elegant dresses. So a very interesting background. So then it moves on to The Sims 3, and it does that because the family lives in Sunset Valley, and this is set around 50 years before The Sims 2 and 25 years before The Sims. So at this time, the Goth family consists of Gunther, Cornelia, and young Mortimer. They are old money, which means that they have inherited their wealth from earlier generations. They have $50,000 in funds and live at 13 Skyborough Boulevard in a large Victorian manor. The Goth Manor was the first house built in Sunset Valley, and it presides over the town. In the description of Sunset Valley, we learn that the town was founded by the Goths and built up by the Landgrabs. The uptown ideals of the new Alto family clashed with the more traditional views of the Goths, forcing the townspeople to choose sides. However, this is contradicted by the fact that the Goths start as friends with Vita Alto. In The Sims 3, the Goth family appears more literally Gothic, which their name refers to, than they seem in previous games in the Sims series. Moving on, the strongest evidence, however, is the prevalence of the grumpy trait in this family. There are only 6 Sims in Sunset Valley who are grumpy, and 4 of them, Agnes, Cornelia, Gunther, and Mortimer, are related to the Goth family. It appears that the grumpy trait is a Goth family trait, at least among its living members. However, the pattern doesn't seem to apply to the deceased relatives like Gretel Goth and Victor Goth. And I feel like that does kind of contribute to Cassandra Goth, because in The Sims 4, she is known as Gloomy, so that kind of plays a role. So then it moves on to the Sim console version. In The Sims 4 console, the family consists of Mortimer, Bella, and Cassandra Goth. A one-story version of their house from The Sims is where they live. The family does not appear in the Get a Life mode of the game. None of that really matters. It is unclear if the game takes place before or after The Sims 4 PC. However, an argument can be made that it took place shortly before. Then in The Sims, the Goths live in a rather small but comfortable house, and 8 unknown relatives are buried in their backyard. Moving on to The Sims 2. The Goth family is the richest pre-made family in Pleasant View. The family is worth around $640,000, and unlike most pre-made families, the bulk of it is in cash. So they were very rich. Gunther started rich and got richer, and with Mortimer being his only child, much of it was likely inherited. It's also possible that some of the cash came from selling the house at 77 Maple Street, or at least from selling the furnishings and fixtures. At this point, Mortimer is an elder nearing death. His wife, Bella Goth, has mysteriously disappeared and never returned, having been abducted by aliens. Since her disappearance, Mortimer has been seeing Dina Caliente, a much younger woman who is only with him for his money. Cassandra Goth, his daughter, is engaged to Don Lothario, the local womanizer who is romantically involved with 3 other women. Dina is one of them. Talk about messy. That is so messy for this family. Okay, Alexander Goth is Mortimer's only son. When the family is first played, the yard is set for Cassandra and Don's wedding. And then the game provides the following instructions to get Don and Cassandra married. And Don will almost always leave Cassandra at the altar due to his other relationships. Then we can go ahead and move on to The Sims 4. The Goth family appears again in The Sims 4, living in Willow Creek. The family consists of an adult Mortimer. Bella, who is in this incarnation, is younger than her husband, starting as a young adult, a teenage Cassandra, and Alexander, who is only a child. The Sims 4 is officially considered an alternate universe from the previous installment of the game, which explains the age discrepancies of the characters compared to previous releases. They live in a spacious and expensively decorated 3-story house. This is the first Goth home belonging to the core family members, not to feature a graveyard on the premises. There is no television or stereo on the lot, and the only electronic equipment is a tablet computer and the family's cell phones. This house has a lot of electronics. So, that's my bad. But that does seem to be the majority of their background story as a whole, as a family. So since we already talked about Cassandra, we're going to go ahead and move on to Alexander's wiki page. So it says he first appears in The Sims 2, where he lives in Pleasant View with his father and older sister. It states here that he has a memory of being taught how to walk by Bella, so she was probably abducted shortly before he became a child. He likes to play with toys, play chess, and occasionally play piano. When the family is first played, he is 4 days away from becoming a teenager. If Mortimer is already dead by the time Alexander goes to college, his mother will be the parent who drops him off at his dormitory even though she's supposed to be missing. This could hint that she is in fact alive somewhere, but it may just be the game mechanics. Alexander and his father have exactly the same personality, so that's pretty interesting. Then we move on to The Sims 4 and his life leading up to it. So when he returns in The Sims 4, he's living in Willow Creek with his parents. It has been confirmed that this version of Alexander exists in a separate continuity to the versions present in previous games. He is a child. He is a grade school student with a C grade. He has the creativity, mental motor, and social skills. He is friends with his parents and older sister, but has no relationships outside of his household. He only has one trait, bookworm, and has the whiz kid aspiration. And in this version, he is much closer in age to Cassandra than in other versions. So there's really not much lore on him, actually, which is pretty interesting. There really isn't anything on him at all. But what I had kind of envisioned for him in my own gameplay is that he definitely loves books. I gave him a giant bookcase in his room, but I also kind of picture him being like a super scientific one, which kind of goes along with the theme that they were talking about in the background of the family as a whole, and the fact that a lot of the Goths are scientists or really wealthy businessmen. So I could picture him actually being the one who goes into the scientist career and kind of follows in his father's footsteps. I'm not sure what Bella or Mortimer Goth's careers are in the game, which I guess we will find out in a minute when I search them up. But yeah, I was kind of picturing him maybe becoming the scientist. He's super smart. I figure that he loves nature. I put a ton of the bugs and mounted fish in his room from the outdoor retreat pack. And I put a microscope in his room that he uses to, not a microscope, a telescope, sorry, a telescope in his room that he kind of uses to look at the stars and planets and things. So I just picture him being the one who follows in the footsteps of becoming a scientist, and he loves to read. And yeah, that is kind of what I had pictured from him. He's kind of more nerdy and quiet and keeps to himself, as the rest of the family I kind of picture does as well. So yeah, her little biography states that she first appeared in The Sims. She is a daughter of Simus and Jocasta Batchelor, and she has a brother, Michael Batchelor. She grew up in a large home in Sunset Valley, just down the road from her future husband, Mortimer. Later, the two fell in love, married, and moved, where they had their daughter and had one more child, Alexander. Shortly before the start of The Sims 2, Bella went missing, and in the alternate universe of The Sims 4, Bella lives at Ophelia Villa in Willow Creek, alongside her husband, Mortimer, her daughter, Cassandra, and her son, Alexander. So life leading up to The Sims 3, Bella starts as a child who lives with her mother, an older brother, and father. Because she is still a child, she goes by her maiden name of Batchelor. She grows up. She looks different in the adult version of her from The Sims and The Sims 2, which doesn't really matter. Her traits are good, brave, and lucky. She is a good student. She's slightly gothic, which may hint at why she married Mortimer, and also at her interest in the paranormal. She has the painting skill, and she is said to be well-behaved and the best-dressed girl around. In The Sims 3, she is believed to be placed in different parts of the main timeline. And it is confirmed that the Bella Goth in Lunar Lake's graveyard is the same Bella from Pleasant View and Strangetown. Thus, by the time of Lunar Lake's Bella is dead. So that's interesting that each of the worlds are kind of in a different timeline, I guess. How or when she got to Lunar Lakes remains unconfirmed, as is whether or not she was ever reunited with her family after her alien abduction. However, a message from traveling with the Dance Sphere time machine, One Goes to the Future, or the Galaxa space car, confirms that she became the new empress of the aliens when she lived on the planet. How and why she ended up with her new zombie-like appearance remains unknown, though it may only be a side effect from when she died. Life leading up to The Sims console, she lives with her husband and daughter, and she likes to read, play chess, feed fish, and mourn at the tombstones. Life leading up to The Sims, she again lives with her husband and her daughter. She is an elegant yet athletic woman who seems to enjoy playing golf. Her activities when played will either be painting or playing the piano, which is perfect because I did include an easel somewhere in this house and a piano. She is unemployed and has no skill points in anything. And she's also friends with her daughter Cassandra, but knows no other Sims. Life leading up to The Sims 2, Bella has had another child and has disappeared. And then I guess that's pretty much it. Her last known location was Don Lothario's deck, which can be seen in the Lothario family photo album. Don's memory panel shows that he had attempted some romantic interactions with Bella, which she didn't accept because she mysteriously disappeared. So not only did Don try and flirt, well, got almost married to Cassandra, or married in some gameplays, he tried to be romantic with her mother Bella. Many of Mortimer's, Cassandra's, and Alexander's memories involve Bella, meaning that she hasn't been gone for too long, though they all aged to the next life stage since she was abducted. So that's pretty interesting. That, I don't know, the whole Don Lothario thing is really throwing me off. But anyways, moving on to life leading up to The Sims 4. Again, living in an alternate universe, which we already know. She's a young adult. Her traits are good, family-oriented, and romantic. She has the party animal aspiration. She has skills of charisma, fitness, and programming. She is friends with her daughter and sweethearts with Mortimer. The household description mentions that Bella sometimes disappears under mysterious circumstances. This statement is likely a reference to her working in the secret agent career as an intelligence researcher, as well as a nod to her abduction plotline in The Sims 2. So, what I kind of picture for Bella in this gameplay is that she is still an intelligence researcher, and she works in the secret agent career, but she also throws tons of house parties to kind of keep up appearances. And I can kind of picture her, like, kids getting super annoyed with it. Like, really, Mom, we have to have another party with all these people who we don't know, we don't like. And so their mom is always, like, throwing these huge parties and inviting the richest people around and the most influential people around, and her family just gets really annoyed with her. But for her, it's a way to keep up appearances and stay in the know in terms for her career, which would work with her party animal aspiration. So yeah, I just figure her kind of being a huge socialite and wanting to constantly be socializing with the other mothers. And I picture her maybe having a rivalry with another mom, another really rich family, but I don't know which family I want that to be yet. I believe they mentioned something about the land grabs that I read, so maybe they could have like a kind of like war with the land grabs, like these two really wealthy and influential families, even though they don't live in the same town, maybe they're still kind of like at war and at each other's throats. So I don't know, that could be kind of an interesting storyline to play around with, but we'll have to see. So let's go ahead and move on to Mortimer. In The Sims 3, Mortimer is a child who lives with his parents, Gunther and Cornelia. He doesn't know his aunt, Agnes Agnes Crumplebottom is his aunt? This is crazy the way all of these Sims are related, and I just had, like, no idea. That's crazy. Anyways, Mortimer and Bella are best friends. He is also friends with Bella's brother Michael, and his traits are grumpy, ambitious, and artistic. He is a B+ student who likes to read and paint. He starts out with a bit of a logic skill. He is often angry or in a bad mood for no apparent reason, even more so it seems than his parents. This is probably due to his grumpy trait. He does, however, seem to be able to grow out of this, as in The Sims and The Sims 2, he is described as cheerful and outgoing. So that is pretty interesting. So life leading up to The Sims, Mortimer Goth and his wife Bella and his daughter Cassandra all live together. He brings his old country upbringing into the modern age and has an unusual fondness for insects. This version of Mortimer appears to be quite young, as he's only a test subject. The first level in the science career track, starting out with no skills and with quite a small amount of money. No mention of the entertainment career exists. Between The Sims and The Sims 2, a lot happens in Mortimer's life. He rose through the ranks of his career from a test subject to a mad scientist and becomes very wealthy along the way. His parents both perished in 2 different fires. Bella also gave birth to another child, Alexander. Bella was abducted by aliens. He strongly disapproves of Cassandra's being engaged to the town Casanova Don Lothario, though still allows them to marry. Let's see. Mortimer is retired and dating Dina Caliente, and is on his 5th day as an elder, with 7 days left before he dies of old age. He has cooking skill and has maxed out both cleaning and logic, which are the skills needed for the mad scientist position. He enjoys reading, playing chess, and occasionally practicing piano. So this entire family loves to read. This entire family seems to be pretty creative and very smart. So, yeah. He is known to be the shoving sim when a sim from another household stargazes with a telescope during the day. This is because Mortimer is the first playable sim created in Pleasant View. If Mortimer or Cassandra stargaze, Nina Caliente will be the shoving sim instead. I'm I'm not totally sure what that means because I haven't played The Sims 3. Life leading up to The Sims 4. In the game, he lives with his family. He is an adult. He works in the writer career and has the Renaissance Sim aspiration. He's level 4 of the writing skill. And in the trailer, Mortimer is shown to have 3 traits, which are genius, bookworm, and creative. He has a quick learner bonus trait. In game, his traits are slightly different, as genius has been replaced with outgoing, but his other 2 traits and aspiration remain the same. So he also doesn't have very much in terms of his background story that we didn't already know. So I don't really have much kind of in terms of what I picture for him in this gameplay. I picture him maybe being more of the strict parent. He has a lot of rules and expectations for his kids. I picture both parents kind of being that way, but maybe he's a little bit more gruff and like blunt about it in a way that kind of comes across as strict. And in reality, he really just wants the best for his kids and his family, who he loves very much, but I feel like he probably just kind of clashes with his kids in that way, in the terms of him being so strict. But I could definitely see him being a writer, or even changing him to the scientist career. And yeah, I did think that was interesting. I think in the future, if I'm going to do this, I'll try and read through all of the character bios before, and I can kind of compile it in a way that's not so repetitive. But I do think that this is kind of a fun little add to this speed build, so that we could kind of get a good look at the families for those of you who maybe didn't know their backstory before. And then also it kind of gives me the opportunity to add in and find out more about them and kind of change their stories based on that. So yeah, I definitely thought that this was fun and interesting, and you guys will have to let me know if you thought that this was a fun thing to listen to, if you guys would like me to do this again in the future, or if you thought that it was super boring and you just don't really care about it. So yeah, definitely drop that in the comments below. But we still have quite a long ways to go in this speed build, and unfortunately I am losing my voice. I don't know if it's from my sister's wedding and screaming songs for 3 hours, or if I'm getting sick, or what it is, but my throat is so scratchy, and I have been pausing repetitively so that I can like hack up a lung before I continue. And also I can hear how deep my breathing is. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off this voice over here. Hopefully I can trim this video down a little bit more. I might make it a little bit faster than what you guys are normally used to, so I hope that's okay. But if you did enjoy this speed build, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye guys.